Hello, I'm Shari Pierce, and today I'll be presenting my legal and ethical case on prohibited speech by a classroom teacher. This case focuses on a teacher who continued to express her personal opinions in the classroom after being warned several times by administration. I'll discuss the legal issues involved and whether termination based on insubordination is justified, the impact on the school community, and recommendations for school leaders moving forward. In this case, a teacher repeatedly shared her opinions about interracial marriage, abortion, transgender students during classroom instruction. Some of her comments directly affected the students in her class, including students who came from interracial families. And after receiving several warnings, from the principal, she continued discussing these topics with students and even with a parent. At that point, this issue became more than just free speech. It became a concern about professionalism, following administrative directives, and creating a safe learning environment. Several court cases helped guide this situation. Pickering established that schools can balance employee free speech rights with the needs of the school. Garcetti explains that speech made as part of employees' official duties is not protected the same way as private speech. Connick reminds us that when speech disrupts the workplace, schools have greater authority to take action. These cases support the ideas that school districts can regulate classroom instruction when it interferes with the educational mission. And from the Georgia Educated Code of Ethics Standards 1, 2, and 9, Standard 1 being legal compliance, where educators are expected to comply with all federal, state, and local and school board policies. In Standard 2, conduct with students, where an educator must maintain a professional relationship with students and provide an environment that respects dignity and worth of every student. And the last standard, Standard 9, professional conduct, addresses where educators must demonstrate professionalism, exercise sound judgment, and maintain public trust in the profession. From the legal analysis standpoint, teachers do have First Amendment rights, and those rights are not unlimited while they are performing their job duties. When teachers are in the classroom, they're representing the school district, not speaking as private citizens. Schools also have responsibility to provide an environment that is safe and free from discrimination. Since the teacher ignored repeated directives from administration, this situation involves both constitutional issues and employment law. Recommendations include providing annual professional development on First Amendment rights, appropriate classroom speech, cultural responsiveness, and professional ethics to ensure all staff understands the legal limits of classroom instruction. Also, develop and consistently enforce clear district policies regarding employee speech, classroom discussions of controversial issues, and professional conduct. The policies should clearly define expectations and the consequences for violating them. Also, you need to document all incidents and progressive disciplinary action. Administrators should provide written directives, maintain accurate records, and follow district policies procedures before recommending termination. Proper documentation supports due process and strengthens the district's legal position. Also, we must protect students by maintaining an inclusive learning environment. School leaders should intervene immediately when classroom speech creates a hostile or discriminatory environment and ensure all students are treated with dignity and respect. And lastly, we follow established due process procedures. When disciplinary action is required to ensure employees' rights are protected while also fulfilling the district's responsibility to provide a safe and effective educational environment. As an up and coming administrator principal, I believe the principal does have grounds to recommend termination based on insubordination. This issue is not simply what the teacher personally believes. This concern is what she repeatedly refused to follow the directives from her administrator. After being warned several times, she continued with the same behavior. Educational leaders have the responsibility to protect students and make sure employees follow district expectations. For insubordination to exist, there must first be reasonable directive from administration. The employee has to understand that directive and then intentionally refuse to comply. In this case, all those elements appear to be present. The teacher received many warnings and continued to do what she wanted to do. The pattern strengthens the district's position if the disciplinary action is challenged. I believe courts would likely support the board's decision if proper procedures were followed. The district gave the teacher multiple opportunities to correct her behavior before recommending termination. The decision was based on repeated insubordination and disruption of the educational environment, not simply because administration disagreed with her personal beliefs. Following due process is what makes the district's position much stronger. This case reminded me that educational leadership involves balancing individual rights with our responsibility to provide a safe learning environment for all students. As a future administrator, I understand the importance of documenting concerns, communicating expectations clearly, and making decisions that are legally sound and ethically responsible. Even when decisions are difficult, student well-being must remain the top priority. This situation affects everyone involved. Students may no longer feel safe or respected in the classrooms, especially those who were directly targeted by the teacher comments. Parents can lose confidence in the school, staff morale can suffer, and the district could face complaints or legal actions. Situations like this remind us that our decisions as educators affect much more than one classroom. And these are my references, and I thank you for listening to my presentation today.